Hey everybody, we just wanted to take a moment to kind of give you an update on our cancer journey. We're down here in Myrtle Beach, but it's kind of raining on us today, and so we just thought we'd take a few minutes while we had some downtime to bring everybody up to speed. And if you've been following us and you've seen our trailer, we gave you kind of what started this whole roundabout journey for us was my cancer diagnosis back on April 3rd of 2019. And you know, we kind of gave you where we started at, and we'd just like to bring you kind of where we're at today.
Well, just kind of tell you a little bit of the journey we've been through. We know that we told you about Randall's surgery and some of his treatments, but we haven't gone into any specifics about that. So we just kind of wanted to fill you guys in.
Yeah, so basically what happened is after the diagnosis on April 3rd, I met with some local doctors in our hometown, and to be honest, they was kind of perplexed. They kind of just really didn't know what to do with me.
Imagine that.
You know, it happens to me a lot. But you know, it was kind of rare. And so, you know, my local doctor had actually asked, he was going to a southeastern conference
an oncology conference.
Yeah, and had asked my permission to offer me up as a case study. And so obviously, you know, at that point, not knowing what to do, I was like, yeah, you know, I'll willing to do anything, you know, if it can help. Even at that point, because at that point they honestly hadn't given us a clear diagnosis and hadn't really even told us what life expectancy was for me at that point. So we thought it was pretty dire.
Well, and it was at that point we were pretty sure that it was an extremely rare form of cancer, because they were saying it was a primary breast cancer that was melanoma. And so that, to the best of our knowledge, there were only just, you know,
a few hundred,
less than 200 cases in the United States of that type of cancer. Now, we have since found out it was not that type of cancer, so it's a little different. But at that time, we were totally confused and had no idea where to go.
Yeah, and so, you know, in saying that, so we was pretty desperate for anything, to be fair. And so when he offered to present our case to other doctors at this conference, we're like, sure. And I figured, you know, worst case scenario, at least it could help somebody else in the future. And so I was kind of willing to be a guinea pig. Well, so happened at this conference, there was a doctor there from Emory that approached my doctor that was in town and said that, you know, he really wanted to see me. He said he actually had 2 other patients with the exact same diagnosis as me. And so they made contact, we set up an appointment, and honestly I thought I was kind of just going down there to be a guinea pig.
Well, and we really, it wasn't even so much as a guinea pig. We thought that we were just going to go down there just to give information to help him with his studies. We didn't think we were going to receive treatment there.
All right, but then the day we went down there, man, it was a whirlwind. I mean, I bet we've seen, I couldn't even tell you how many doctors we saw in one day down there.
I think it was 7, may have been more than 7.
It was crazy. We spent all day down there talking to different doctors and different tests and just all kinds of stuff like that. Well, at the end of it, they came up and kind of said, okay, you know, here's your options. And I'll be honest with you, it was kind of the most refreshing thing that had happened to us during this whole thing, because up here they wasn't really giving us options. And that's not to say anything bad about the doctors in our local town. They treated us wonderfully.
They were very aggressive. They wanted to get it out as soon as possible and start treatment as soon as possible. But we didn't know there were other options for different types of treatment.
Yeah, and so down there at Emory, I mean, they really put the ball in our court, and they said, you know, you can do anything from us just keeping you comfortable until you pass, all the way up to the most extreme treatment. and anything in between. They offered us several options in between. And so it just so happened one of the options was they was offering a clinical trial where they was actually trying out a new drug that didn't even have a name yet.
Yep, it was just letters and numbers, and it was an experimental drug. I think Randall was only the second patient to ever receive that drug.
Yeah, and the whole premise was to try to get that. We got 2 doses of that before surgery, so we did that over a 6-week period, and then scheduled surgery. And the whole premise of that was to kind of build up my immune system to fight this cancer before surgery.
Right, that drug was an immunotherapy drug. It was designed to build his immune system and help his immune system fight the cancer before they messed with it any.
Yeah, and so we did that. We opted into that. We opted in for every clinical trial that they had. We did a couple, and then 6 weeks later we had surgery. So my surgery ended up being sometime in June. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but
June the 17th.
That's it. That's the reason why she's here, to remember everything. So we had surgery. It went well. It actually went so well, they let us come home that same night.
We did.
And which was crazy. Now, once they got in there, what they did was obviously they removed the mass. And then while they was in there, they went ahead and removed all the lymph nodes on this side. And from what was explained to us was, you know, the lymph nodes on this side basically acts as a filtration system, if you will, for kind of your head and this upper part of your body. All your lymph nodes on the other side is kind of the filtration system for all the rest of your body. So to have it on this side was actually a blessing, because these lymph nodes don't have to carry as much weight as the other ones. And so we did that. They sent us home. Obviously my body had to adjust to those lymph nodes being gone, so I had a drain tube for 5 weeks, which was a pain to have a chest. You know, you basically have a tube coming out of your chest into a bottle, and you have to keep it drained every so many hours. You have to keep constant checks on how much fluid's coming out and is it getting better. But all in all, everything went extremely well.
It was very smooth.
You know, I never even took the first pain pill. I never took anything stronger than a Tylenol. And so I was very grateful for that. And then after we did that, went back 5 weeks later. Of course, we went back every week, but after 5 weeks, they finally decided that the fluid level was down low enough that they could remove the drain. And we let that heal up, and then we started on immunotherapy treatments. And the plan there is we got to have 13 treatments over a year period.
Every 4 weeks.
Basically, we go every 4 weeks, and that's kind of where we're at today. I just had, just last week, I had number 6, so I'm almost halfway. And along with that immunotherapy over the next year, we have to have scans every 3 months for the first year.
And those scans, he has to have a PET scan of his whole body and an MRI of his brain.
Yeah, and the reason behind that is because, you know, this type of cancer tends to come back.
Melanoma.
Yeah, it tends to come back either in the brain,
the liver, and the lungs.
Yeah, the liver and the lungs. So the PET scan basically scans the body for the liver and the lungs. The MRI scans the brain, obviously. The PET scan can't do quite a good job of scanning the brain. Now, the fun part is my insurance company loves to deny the MRIs. And so basically, after doing a lot of fussing and fighting with them, they basically come back with the answer of they will only allow 1 MRI a year.
Even though the doctors say it's really needed every 3 months.
Yeah, and the reason why is because the doctor says by the time, if we wait a year and it does come back, by the time if it's a year before you catch it, it's basically
a lot harder to treat.
Yeah, it's going to be too far gone. In my opinion, I think that's the way insurance play the game. I think they hope it's by the time you find it, you're kind of a dead man walking, and that's less money they got to pay. But that's my opinion. I won't go down that road on video, but anyways.
Suffice it to say that we have battled with the insurance company over these scans, and Randall has not had an MRI of his brain since just before his surgery.
Right.
But we're hoping to get one next month, which is when he's due for his next one. We've missed 2.
We have another set of scans scheduled in about 2 weeks before the next immunotherapy. And so, you know, again, playing the insurance game once a year is that a year from the date of the first MRI, or is that once per calendar year? Because now we've rolled over into 2020, so we don't know if this will be approved or not. They typically don't turn it down till the day before, so you don't have time to argue with them and try to get it pushed through. So we'll see what happens.
We hope that they'll approve this scan, but if not, we'll go have the PET scan and we'll get the MRI as soon as we can.
Yeah, but so far, this will be the second set of scans or the third?
This is your third
This is the
set.
third set of scans. And so far, the first two set of scans, everything's come back clear. So everything's going great at this point. Again, I've said this through the whole thing. We've been so blessed. I haven't really been sick. I've dealt with a little bit. The immunotherapy is affecting my thyroid a little bit, which does cause me to be tired and cause me a few issues there. But
makes him a little bit irritable.
Yeah, it makes me tired too. So I guess when I get tired, I get irritable. But anyways, when I see some of these other cancer patients, though, I have no room to complain.
True.
I feel so blessed and how everything's gone. And but anyways, just kind of, I know we haven't done a real in-depth follow-up with you guys on everything. Oh, I also want to tell you one thing we did forget to tell you is when they did do the surgery, before we went to surgery, where the mass was, they couldn't tell it was it really in the breast or was it in the lymph node. They said it was within an inch and it could be either one. And
even with the sophisticated testing that they have and the scans that they do, they could not tell because of how close it was to being either one. So they wouldn't know until they did the surgery where the tumor was actually located.
Yeah, so, you know, had it been in the breast, it would have been stage 4, which is kind of what everybody was leaning towards and thought it was. And if it was in the lymph node, it would be stage 3. And so when we did have surgery, before he sent us home, he did come back and say it was the lymph node.
Right. He talked, the surgeon, Dr. Lowe, talked with me while Randall was in recovery and let me know that they did remove all the lymph nodes and they would send those off to pathology, but that the tumor was a lymph node. Yeah, so luckily it was not actually in the breast, even though all along up until that point that is what we was told. You know, it's really what we was led to believe, that it was, you know, basically male breast cancer. It turned out it was not. It was in the lymph node. And they removed a total of 28 lymph nodes, and thank goodness it was only in the one. Yes, which 27 were clear. Yeah, so that's wonderful news. And so, again, just wanted to get that out there so everybody is up to date. And obviously, you know, we're kind of halfway through the immunotherapy journey. Right. We have more scans to do, again, every 3 months. And so as we go along through this, hopefully every month or 2, maybe 3, we'll just kind of keep you up to date and let you know what our journey is. And again, you know, we do all of our treatments, everything down in Emory, down in Atlanta. It's the Winship Cancer Institute at Emory University Hospital. And it is about an hour and 45-minute drive when there's no traffic from our house to the hospital. So it makes for really early mornings when we have those early appointments, but we would not have it any other way. Yeah, I mean, luckily I love the way they schedule there, because they schedule everything, all the doctor's visits, the labs, the immunotherapy treatment, everything all in one day. Now it makes for a very long day. Most days we have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to make the drive down there to get started at 8. And then, you know, we're there pretty much all day. It's normally sometimes 5, 6 o'clock before we get back home in the evenings. Well, and that includes, by the time we get finished, we usually are hitting Atlanta traffic on the drive back north home, and so that adds to the trip as well. Yeah, and so, but anyways, we don't mind it. I am so thankful that they took over our treatments down there. They have been absolutely wonderful. Love that they do clinical trials, which I do think has been a big benefit in my whole being, you know, not being sick and everything that has went so well with us. So I just want to give a big shout out to Emory. Yes, they're amazing. Again, guys, if anybody out there is just been diagnosed, is going through this, want to reach out to us, I would love to talk to anybody. We have talked to so many people. I've had people reach out to us on Facebook where people
You know, we've had one lady where her dad got diagnosed, and they was just, you know, scared and didn't know what the next steps needed to be. I would love to share our experience with anybody. Again, by no means am I an expert. I can only share what we've been through.
Right.